Hi everyone, this is Jason Zach from Nathaniel School of Music. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how and what are all the tools used to divide a beat. How to slice a beat into two parts basically. Now the parts may be equal or unequal, and that's what this lesson is going to be about. Okay, now it's important to understand that this is a singular beat. So when we count a piece of music, whatever time signature it might be in, whether it's a 3x4, 4x4, 5x4, whatever it might be, there are beats going in a bar, right? So we are not concerned about time signature or even bars. We are just coming down to the actual beat of the music. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. As we go along with that flow, 3, 4. Right now I'm just saying 3, 4, but I don't know how much I'm dividing the beat by. Or am I even dividing this beat in the first place? Well, the truth is no. 1, 2. So the most I can play on a musical instrument, or let's say with my vocals, could be something like maybe ta na 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 do re re do da re do 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 do. Or on the keyboard maybe. But you can't really do you're only going to be able to do because that's on the beat. So for one, when you go inside the beat, you get access to a lot more notes. Like da 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 da. But you never change the pulse, you know. The tucking. So you could have the same song with a lot more busyness, or you could compose. Maybe you're composing a melody which is on a beat level. Ta, 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 ta. Do you want to add more rhythmic interest to it? So ta 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 tukam patum teru tetura teru tara turare versus tu turare ra re ro can now be tum tare taro re ra or so that's basically what we are going to learn in this lesson, looking at music beat by beat and figuring out what are the ways to divide it. Now we have exclusively done a lot of beat division lessons on our YouTube channel already that cover the theory. So I'd recommend that after watching this video, you do check the description, and we'll leave you a few other lessons on beat division and each kind of beat division. If you get into the triplet world, or if you get into the semiquaver basically means dividing by 4. So it might help to check out some of our other stuff in the description, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for regular notifications, as that gives you access and immediate knowledge of whenever we release a lesson on our channel, which is usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays, Indian evening time. Okay, and the other thing is my handwritten notes as well as the staff notation for this entire lesson are waiting for you on our Patreon portal for just a fee of $5 a month. So do consider supporting us on Patreon, and you'll get a lot of things to learn and supplement this lesson with, as well as all the other lessons. Okay, without any further delay, let's get cracking. So first off, if you take a beat and slice it exactly into two, and share it equally, like you're sharing a slice of bread with your friend, while in my case it'll be an unequal slice. I would want the bigger half. So if you consider a C in the left hand as a pulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the right hand, well, continue to play C. 1. So this is at the beat level. If we have to slice this up, you can slice it up either into 2 units, also known as quavers or eighth notes if you call these as quarter notes or crotchets. So you go exactly halfway into the beat. 1 and we can even say 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, correct? And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there we go. We can even change the notes. So we have more compartments in the container, so to speak, where you got a container, you can only put one kind of food item into it, like pepper, but now you can do pepper and salt, so to speak. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you can choose to play both of those subdivisions or not play one of them, like 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, or you could just play the offbeat subdivision like 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So a good exercise probably to practice dividing by 2 would be to maybe practice scales in thirds, maybe on A major. And 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and over. That's 2 bars of 4/4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Maybe stop there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and close. Okay, so that was dividing by 2, which is kind of the tip of the iceberg in this sense of beat division. Let's move forward. So the next opportunity we have is to divide the beat by 3. Now, if you look at it fractionally, when you divide by 2, it's whole, then you go to beat 2, and in between you have the halfway point between beat 1 and beat 2. So you could either look at it as half in a fraction, or you could look at it as 50%. 50% after beat 1 would be the second quaver. The first quaver would be the downbeat and the offbeat would be the second one. So 1 and, that and would be at the 50% mark of the beat, or at the halfway point in between exactly slicing the 2 beats in terms of time slicing, because you're slicing time. You're not really slicing anything else really. It's time. So because of that time slice, your container now has a compartment where you can store something in this beat and then in the other beat. Okay, so that's an exact slice, exactly dividing by 2. What if we divide the container by 3? We could divide by 3, but this entire lesson would be, I want to divide the beat by, I want to divide it only into 2 slices as a study, but we are going to visualize it as triplets. So we start by dividing it by 3, which would be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, but we are not going to play all the hits. 1 and a 2 and instead we are going to do 1 and 4 and 1 and or So if you go 1 and 3 and 4 1 2, that occurs at the 2/3 mark of the beat, because now you're dividing by 3. So in fractions, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, or the next one, isn't it? So 1/3 would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2/3 would be 1 and so 1 and 1 2 3 1 triplet and so on. So if we start off with the and just take a simple drill like and I'm ending it off with a crotchet, so it ends up being 4/4, right? The first study would be try and access those 1 and and play those hard on the keys. or whichever instrument. You can even do this with singing. So you don't want to accent the middle one. Versus the and. So that's the drill. And on the keys, wait, repeat. There we go. Okay, so that was at the middle beat. What about the Now, I still haven't actually divided it into two parts because I'm playing three. So there are three sort of compartments. I want there to be two compartments, but unequal compartments. So in this case, I want the first compartment to be bigger than the second compartment. So that would mean I hit on the one, I ignore the and I hit the So now that we've sliced up the container into two, but even though we are imagining triplets, the size of one compartment is bigger than the other, right? So then you can do whatever you want to the bigger compartment. For a start, you can play the note to be as long or lead until to the next beat. So it's long. The 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, or I can choke it. So at the end, I'm kind of lifting my hand off the keyboard as almost like I'm getting a shock or something. One and very different than, isn't it? As okay, and what if you just do a complete staccato? Very different flavor, right? So we have those notated for you. Check. Staccato, full on legato, now having a gap at the and, one and. And now we have looked at all the possibilities of hitting at the on beat and the of the triplet. What if we now look at hitting at all the possibilities of the on and the and of the triplet and leaving the aside? So now the container was kind of like, if this is your scale, we have an exact halfway mark here, right? Now that halfway mark moved a bit more to the right because it was accessing the Now that halfway mark moves a bit more to the left. So it moved from 50% of the beat to 33.33% if you want to access the and it moved to 66.67% if you want to access the 2/3 point or the of the triplet division. So now let's look at hitting at the and, which is at the 1/3 point. So if I accent and, I'd encourage you to first practice it with accents. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and hit that and a bit harder for the triplet. And now look at different options. So you can do the legato style. Da 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 da. What if you want da 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 da? So nothing at the you're choking exactly at the Let me try and sing it. Da-de, da-de, da-da, ta-ra, te. So if you have to take a breath, it's exactly at that. Ta-re, 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 ta, ta-re, ta-ra, te-re, do. Versus ta-re, ra-ra, re-re, re, ra-re, ra-ra, re-re, do. No breathing allowed when you don't have those gaps. Okay, or you do staccato. Ta-re, 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 ta, ta-re, 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 tam. So that was the triplet world where you're slicing into 3. Now you could also get into the 16th note triplet world where you're slicing into 6 basically, and then you can go in unequal divisions like 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. 5. So it gets a bit technical as you get into the tuplet world of things. So the triplet is like your first tuplet. Then you have your quintuplets, you have your sextuplets, your septuplets and whatnot. Basically you're dividing the beat into all sorts of divisions, which is possible mathematically, of course. So let's now look at semiquavers, which divide the beat into 4 units. So that'll be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a takadimi, takajunu, takadimi, takajunu, takadimi, and a 3E and a 4E. And we've done a lot of lessons on practicing 16th notes. We leave a couple in the description. Takadimi, takajunu, takadimi, takajunu. One. Now, how are we dividing this now? Again, our goal, our mission is to have only 2 compartments in the container, even though 16 note division gives us 4 compartments. Triplet gave us a possibility of 3 compartments. So what do we do with 16s? If I want to access those 16 percentages, it would be at the 25% mark of the beat or quarter. Then I have 1, quarter, half, or 2 by 4, and then you have 3 by 4. So the quarter point is E, the 3/4 point is or the 25% point is E, 1E and 2E and 3E, while the 3/4 point, 1E and 2E and 3E and is at the 75% mark of the beat. Okay, so I have some information for you, some melody on G minor. 2 flats, right? So let's take something like. That's the melody. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and I'm just ringing it at the end. So that's my melody. First off, let's slam the ers of the semiquavers. So I'm going to maintain a left hand pulse. One E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. Repeat. Versus E. You might get confused a bit in the left hand because you're accenting those hits. You'll want to even accent it in the left hand, but you should keep the pulse as much as possible. Or start with the accents in the left hand. And then move to the pulse. There we go. Okay, so now we want 2 of them with all the possible articulations. So let's do 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E. So what note shall we do? G, B flat A, C, B flat D, G. So it will sound like. Full on legato. Da, 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 da. Each note is hugging into the next note. Then 1E and that's 1E and a 2 da 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 da, as opposed to ta ra 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 ra, ta ta ra ta ra ta ra, or choking right after the one. Ta pa ra pa ra pa ra. You're choking at the E basically. Ta ta ra ta ra pa ra, ta pa ra pa ra E, ta E ta ra E ta ra E pa ra, ta pa ra pa ra pa ra. And then you can go choking at the end. Ta pa ra pa ra pa ra, pa pa ra pa ra pa ra, or no choking at all. Pa ra ba re 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 re, da 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 da. Very legato. Okay, so that's the hit point. Then we can look at the E hit point. So so what's the melody we have? Earlier it was ta ta re ta ru te re. Now it's te re 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 do re re. In its different flavors. So, you're removing it at the one E, two E, or immediate taram parum pare te. You have all sorts of permutations, right? So with semiquaver, in the world of dividing the beat by 4, we're looking at a system where the container that you have, which is the beat I'm now defining sort of officially on this channel as a time container for a piece of music, for a musical event. Now, if a beat is that time container, you can have compartments in the container. Those will be subbeats or subdivisions. So in the triplet world, you had 3 subdivision possibilities, but we chose to have 2 irregular or unequal compartments. In the semiquaver world, the same story. We have a possibility of 4 subdivisions or 4 compartments in the container, but we chose, or we are choosing now to do 2, which is 1 or 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, right? And before we wind up the lesson, it's also important to know that this can go on, because you don't necessarily have to divide the beat by 4 or 3 only. You can divide by anything. For instance, if we have to divide by 5, let's say a 5 would be quintuplets. It's notated as 5 semiquavers with a 5 number. Like you do this modified number. Even with triplets, you should write a 3 number there. So you put the 5 number, and that's basically equivalent to a crotchet or a quarter note. So if we take this kind of melody on a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. The pulse is still. Good way to remember 5 could be to say things like taka takita taka takita taka takita taka takita ta. So you can do taka takita if you want to do taka as 2 and takita for the 3. Taka takita taka tak. So every ta becomes an accent, So that in the quintuplet, in the set of 5, you're highlighting 2 in 2 ways. One is 3 plus 2 accents, and you can probably add a little chord in the bass. You can even consider this, depending on the speed of the music, as probably a 5/8 composition or a 5/16. But if this was there in a 4/4, and if this is like a quick quintuplet insertion, then you can write it as a quintuplet as well. Basically, we are dividing a unit of time by 5. 1, 2, 3. Or accent it as 2 plus 3. Maybe 3 plus 2 again. So now what if we just do hits? 3 plus 2 hits. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1, 2. It actually kind of sounds like a swing song, like, but in a very unpredictable, rather lazier kind of swing, or a more, I don't know, like a swing without, which is very unique in a way, because the percentage is not at that exact triplet, it's at a quintuplet. So you go 3 plus 2, tak it, tak dum, tak dum, tak dum, tak dum. Or you can do taka takita. Tak. Let's do that again slowly. Taka takita. Taka takita. Takita. Okay, so similarly, you can go into a septuplet swing where you divide by 7 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you can just go on and on with this process. So if you'd like me to explore more on tuplets, do let me know in the comments, and we'll try and plan a lesson in the near future. So in a nutshell, let's conclude. All we've done is we've taken a beat, which is a time container or a unit of time, or the pulse, which is following the tempo. The tempo, let's say if it is 60 beats per minute, that unit of time would be 1 second, right? Then we divide it. We started by dividing it very trivially, exactly, if you will, by 2 50% quavers. Then we did triplet divisions, but we didn't play all the 3. We did 1 and, or 1, 4. Then we did semiquavers, but we didn't do 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Instead we did 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and then we did 1 E and then we can probably geek out later in life with quintuplets and the other tuplets by maybe tak 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 dum tak dum tak dum tak dum, or tak dum tak dum tak 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 dum tak, things like that, dividing by 5. Right, guys, get a copy of the notes on our Patreon and the notation. There's also MIDI file which you can drag and drop into your learning app like a DAW or any other software. You'll also get the original MuseScore notation. You can double click and do your own little adjustments if you want to the music. And also my notes are printed and waiting for you as a PDF file too. So get a copy, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for regular notifications, and check out our description where you'll have a lot more lessons, and follow our channel. Go into our channel, check out the playlists and the videos in general, and stay tuned for more. Cheers.